you guys, we are live here on Facebook and YouTube. It is Thursday night, and tonight we are going to talk about insulin resistance. And I am going to share my experience with insulin resistance and kind of explain a little bit of what I went through and where I am today, and see if I can maybe help another woman figure out if maybe they are at risk for developing insulin resistance, or if maybe they're in a state of insulin resistance now and just maybe have not been able to kind of pinpoint what it is they're going through with what is actually going on in their body. So welcome, my name is Diane. If you are new, I always ask that you hit the like button on Facebook or the subscribe button on YouTube. And if you guys can hear me and see me, if you would please take a second to hit those thumbs up or those hearts, those big old smiley faces. That way I know as you're checking in that you can hear and see me well. And then we know where we got some broadcasts. Okay, we got some people coming on YouTube, so we're perfect. Okay, cool. Okay, and then also, please take a second to introduce yourself and let me know where you are from. At the end of the informational part of this broadcast, I always go through and welcome my viewers and my girlfriends to the broadcast, and then I'll answer any questions or comments that you might have regarding this topic tonight. Just a little introduction in case you are new to me. My name is Diane, and I am a 50-year-old wife and mother of 2 children. For the past 25 years, I have been helping women find nutritional plans and fitness programs to help them look and feel their best, and most importantly, live their most authentic life. For me, over the last couple of years, I have done that for myself through the process of figuring out intermittent fasting in a way that I can live within my family's lifestyle parameters and around food and maintain a healthy lifestyle so I can in fact look and feel my best and live my most authentic life. And I really started doing some research with intermittent fasting when I became sick a couple of years ago with some things. One of those things was insulin resistance, and I'll kind of go over some of those experiences with you tonight. And then what I am doing now to make sure that I am healthy as an aging woman in today's world, and some things that I offer for you in our community of women who are aging, in case you are looking for some alternatives to some nutritional or fitness things that you're looking for, or some ways to manage your own health and lifestyle as you age. So, insulin resistance. I have to admit, I had no idea what that was until I fell victim to it. I was kind of skipping through life, doing all the right things. I was taking care of myself. I was the exerciser. I was the girl at the party who was the food snob because I didn't eat certain foods. I was always on a diet, always managing my calories. I was the least likely person to come down with something that I would have to manage, like insulin resistance, and even more specifically, the possibility of becoming a diabetic. I was working my way toward not ever having to deal with those things because I was the health freak. Then as my body started changing, my hormones were changing, I don't necessarily think my lifestyle was changing, so I don't think anything that I was doing in my lifestyle necessarily changed. It was really everything that was going on inside of my body, and some of those risk factors that we women are sort of exposed to that really do put us in a situation where we very unknowingly can develop some of these things like insulin resistance as we age. And so I'm going to quickly read to you the definition of insulin resistance, and then I'm going to share with you some of the things that I personally went through and some of the things that I've researched and where I'm at today, so that hopefully I can offer some hope to you if you are battling some conditions. I like to say, I don't really like to say illnesses because I don't really feel like I had a illness, really. I had a condition and I was able to reverse it. And so I'm going to give you some information and give you some hope, hopefully, and some tools that you can take away tonight to see if maybe you can do some things for yourself. So insulin resistance. It is when the pancreas produces more and more insulin until the pancreas can no longer produce sufficient insulin for the body's demands, and then blood sugar rises. Insulin resistance is a risk factor for development of diabetes and heart disease. So my body was in a state where insulin was being overproduced, and so that made my blood sugar levels rise, and I was in a pre-diabetic state. with all the research that I have done on insulin resistance, they say there are no signs or symptoms for someone who has insulin resistance. So there's nothing to look for, basically, is what they're saying. In all the research that I did when I found out that I was insulin resistant, and then was diagnosed with a pre-diabetic state on my way to being a diabetic. And I'm going to beg to differ with that, and I'm going to explain to you some of the things that I went through, and then we'll see if those are some of the things that you guys are going through as well. So again, there are risk factors that we women walk around with that kind of lead us into these stages of life as we age. We talked about a few of them last night. Being a pregnant woman who has gestational diabetes, being a woman who delivers babies that are large in size. They state over 9 pounds, but even my daughter at 8 pounds was considered a large baby. And I believe both of them were actually tested for diabetes when they were born because they were such big babies. And it was always the question whether I had diabetes as a pregnant woman because they were big. So that already puts us in a risk factor for being a victim of something like insulin resistance. There's a couple other risk factors too, but I'm going to keep this very specific to us women and some of the things that we kind of go through in life. And again, we talked about the PCOS last night too, and that's sort of considered as infertility issues that women suffer, and I did have some infertility issues when we were trying to have Gabby, and then also the pregnancy that we had before Gabby, where I unfortunately had a miscarriage. So I was the walking risk factor, and I didn't even know that I was. I didn't have the obesity issue, I didn't have the fatty liver, I didn't have the hypertension, and I didn't even have and the obesity thing, and the lack of exercise, and the poor nutrition. Like, all of those obvious risk factors were not part of my lifestyle at all. So it was really geared toward the pregnancy stuff and hormonal issues. And one of the other things about insulin resistance is the abdominal belly fat also makes you higher risk for insulin resistance. And as a woman, we know that's the one major complaint that we have is as our hormones are changing, we develop that, that centralized belly fat, like right around the middle. If you've never had it before, I never had a belly fat problem. My body fat has always been on the lower part of my body, my legs and around my hips. And so when I started getting that belly fat around the middle, I knew that there was something that was wrong. But since so many women complained about it, I just figured it was the menopausal type of thing. And let's talk about that for a second. So when we start going through the perimenopausal and the menopausal and now the postmenopausal phases, we know that that's categorized as hormone changes. But we think about hormones being the progesterone and the estrogen, and for some women it's even the testosterone. We don't ever categorize insulin hormones in that category of hormonal changes. And it really is, from what I can tell from my research and what I experienced for myself, that was probably the biggest hormone of mine that was out of whack. And if I went to my doctor and said to him or her, I think my hormones are out of whack, I'm feeling these certain ways, they would also probably just assume progesterone, estrogen, and testosterone. And never once in my discussion with my doctor did insulin ever come up. Yet insulin is that thing with the belly fat and with all the sugar issues that you have. I was feeling fatigued. I didn't feel like working out. My menstrual cycle was all wacky. I was putting on weight I couldn't lose. Like, all of those things that are associated with all these perimenopausal things and are assumed to be all estrogen and progesterone and testosterone really came out for me to be insulin. And because everything else in my life I was doing correctly to be healthy, and I still ended up insulin resistant. So I say tonight that I'm going to share my story because I feel like every woman has their own story, and it's not typical all the time to what you're going to find on the internet. So, or what you're going to find from your doctor's office. The doctor's office is textbook stuff. Are you the typical person, check, do you have this, check, do you have that, check, do you have this, check, do you have that? If you don't have any of those things, then you're probably going to be, put in you're the crazy lady category, sent off out the door and say, just deal with it kind of thing. And none of the things that I researched was anything that I was necessarily going through that were related to the insulin resistance. It was all just it's just the phase you're going through. And had I not just randomly gotten my blood checked, I did it just for insurance purposes, I would have never known that I was on the cusp of being a type 2 diabetic. Everything that I was dealing with from the woman hormone side of things and not the insulin hormone side of things. And fortunately for me, I am not eligible to take any kind of progesterone or estrogen type of supplements because it's the thing that my body just can't handle. It's hereditary. So I was never, thank goodness, in the position to have to take those things to my doctor to settle me down. And so I just would walk out and kind of go, okay, I guess I'll deal with it. Until the day that I went in and had my blood drawn, and it came back that I had elevated A1C levels and I was considered pre-diabetic. I've talked before about insulin resistance is that thing that happens slowly over time, and it's the precursor to diabetes. So it happens slowly, and those insulin levels just, start revving up and revving up and revving up, and that production gets so high that you end up getting sick. I know exactly why I was in this position now that I put like I said last night, all the pieces together, and now my puzzle is a complete piece. This is why I became insulin resistant, and it started way back when I was a baby. I've talked before about how I have major issues with dairy. I'm very lactose intolerant. I was teased my whole life and uncomfortable my whole life about it. No one ever put that together for me when I was growing up. I was just the finicky eater. I was the one that always complained about a stomach ache. I never wanted to eat. And it started when I was a baby, when my mom had problems nursing me, probably because she had dairy in her diet. She didn't know that those two things were a problem for me, and I was the baby who was colicky and cried all the time and always had an upset stomach. So I was put on a diluted high fructose corn syrup solution in my bottle to just keep me, I guess, fed. I don't know. They probably didn't know any better, no fault to them. But that's what I was kind of brought up on from infancy, because formula was a dairy product and it made me sick. My mom couldn't nurse me because that made me sick. They didn't know what else to do, so they gave me sugar water. That's where my problem started. I have never, ever been able to tolerate sugar, ever. It's a laughing joke in my family that if I want to take a nap, I just take in some sugar and it knocks me out. I've never been able to drink heavy alcoholic type of drinks like the rums and the vodkas and all that. I can't, my body just can't break those sugars down. So there's all these things that now I have this information and I have this history that I'm going back in my life and I'm going, oh, of course I'm insulin resistant. I'm supposed to be. Like, I put all these pieces together. And then we add on the fact that I was 34 when I had my first child. He was over 9 pounds. I was 40 when I had my second child. She was a big baby. I proactively took my pregnancy under my control and went on a diabetics diet while I was pregnant so that I would not have to get gestational diabetes, because I know I would have gotten gestational diabetes. So I kind of say that I'm already in that risk factor. I just purposely put myself out of the actual condition. And here I am now as a 51-year-old woman with this thing that I had to deal with. I also contribute the fact that I was insulin resistant to the dieting practices that I've had throughout my adult life. I can remember being on the all fruit diet. Like, what was I thinking? All I ate was fruit for like months. Or I was on some wacky other diet or this diet. I've always been calorie deficient in everything that I've done. I've always overexpended calories to try to create a calorie deficit. And for the last, before I started intermittent fasting, the 3 or 4 years before that, I was on a very managed meal plan diet system where I ate 2 fruits a day. I ate 2 carbs a day. I had very limited fat and a very low calorie intake. I think now in hindsight, that was a big contributor to me ending up the way I ended up at the time that I ended up. I think I just went way too long in that sort of system of dieting. Every 2 hours, I ate a meal. I was very restricted on my fat. Carbohydrates were very high, not intentionally, but that's just how it worked out with that system in my body. Lo and behold, I become insulin resistant. Okay, what signs and symptoms did I feel? I had headaches. I was fatigued. I had the belly fat. I had fat from head to toe all over my body in places I didn't even know a woman could hold fat. It was awful. I felt just completely bloated. My brain was foggy. I felt super bummed out all the time. I had no energy to work out. I just felt very sickly. And I think that the sugar that was in my body, the elevated sugar levels, were just poison for me, and I didn't know how to connect the dots, and I was feeling really sick. So I consider the fact that I had that blood test, not necessarily looking for anything particular. I mean, I was looking for like them to tell me I had some sort of cancer or something. The blood sugar issue was not even on my radar. But I was feeling so bad, I thought that something was terminally wrong with me. And so that the blood test result really did waken me up, and it did shock me into taking some action. And so that's when I started doing my research. They say that in the research, they say there's no cure for insulin resistance. I, again, am going to kind of beg to differ on that one. I believe that either you are something or you aren't something. I know that I always will have an issue with sugar. I will always have an issue with carbohydrates because the risk factors are there. My food story has been put in place already, and I just don't feel well when I'm on high levels of carbohydrates. So I know it's going to be that thing that now I'm going to even be more aware of in the lifestyle that I choose to have for myself around food, but I don't consider myself insulin resistant anymore because my blood sugar levels are back to normal. I'm feeling absolutely amazing. That extra weight has fallen off. I don't have the belly fat around the middle, and everything for me feels like it's back to where I was before I found out that I was sick or when I started to feel sick. And at 51, all my other hormones seem to be balanced out as well. So my insulin levels are balanced out. I feel like my estrogen, my progesterone, my testosterone, they're all balanced out. And I did that by really paying attention to my body and really noticing those signs and signals that my body was telling me when I was doing something to it that it didn't like. A lot of that was the soy relationship, the sugar relationship, making sure I kept that gluten out of my system because that was kind of throwing me off whack as well. And now I have a very healthy relationship with food. I have a very healthy body, and I'm really optimistic about where I'm going with my life at my age and not worrying about the fact that I might become sick down the road because I'm going to now, with the education and experience that I have and the practices that I have in place for my lifestyle, that I know that I'm going to be able to manage it and then I'll be okay. And I've done it all just through my little phrase that I like to say is I don't diet. I just change the time in which I choose to put food into my body. So there's really the only foods that I'm ever limiting now for my life are the foods that make me personally sick. It doesn't have to do with necessarily a category of food or a certain type of food. I just limit the foods that make me not look and feel my best. Those are very individualized decisions. I don't necessarily always share those with people because everybody's body chemistry is different and you might have different foods. So really the only thing that I've done is I've shifted up the time in which I introduce food into my system so that I can create an environment for my body to heal itself. And that's all I did. I didn't take any medication. I never went to the doctor past the lab work that I did to get my blood drawn. I was told to go see my primary care physician, but I knew all he was going to tell me was exercise more and probably introduce some whole wheat and cut down my fats, which is the diabetic diet, which is crazy. And so I didn't want to have to deal with someone that was going to tell me something that I didn't necessarily believe in myself. And so I just took it on myself and did some very common sense things, created that healthy environment in my body by intermittent fasting, and now here I am today, and I can talk about it as something of my past and not something that I have to deal with in my future. And I hope that I will always be able to do this, make these decisions for myself, to be able to say that was something that I dealt with in my past for a very short period of time, and I won't have to deal with that in my future. And we have the power to do that. We have the power to take control of what it is we have going on in our health, and to do the necessary actions to make ourselves feel better. And the best way to do that is to really engage in that relationship that you have with your body, which I like to call an intimate relationship, to make sure that you know when your body's not feeling right and you know why it's not feeling right. And then that way you can make the necessary changes with a little bit of education and experience. So I'm going to go on and see what we have as far as comments here. And I'm going to go on Facebook first. YouTube, hang on for a second, and then I'll kind of go over there with you guys. Let's see what we have. Oh my gosh, lots of comments. Jenny, good to have you. My husband's here. Kara, Sherry, from Ohio, July group. Awesome. Carla from the July group. I am type 2, dropping my fasting blood glucose numbers though. Yay, keto helped, but IF is doubling down. Awesome. Carla, keep us posted on those blood glucose numbers. I think, isn't it like 100 or below is considered normal, I believe. Sandra, hello. Jackie, hello. Martina from Niagara Falls. Nice. Vivaray, good to see you. Laura's here. Stephanie here. Susie from Houston. I'm still awake from Michigan. Oh, girlfriend. Hopefully you don't have an early morning. Diane, I'm stuck, lost only 2 pounds this week. I feel like I hit a wall. July class. Okay, Diane, post in the Facebook group, and we'll go over what it is you're doing in your fasting window, and more importantly, what you're doing in your feasting window, and we'll get you right back on track. Not a problem. Trophy Club in the house. That's my husband. Elizabeth, hello from Atlanta. Love these videos and recommending them to everyone I know. Hoping to join your course after the summer. Awesome. We're going to have, we have a course starting, I think, the 1st of August, and I think we might do another one the 1st of September. So we try to do one every month. Gail, morning coffee chat with you. Oh, Gail, yay. Wondering what your experiences have been with IF and being sick. I've had a cold lingering for the past 2 weeks. Have been doing 24 and was wondering if there was something else I should be doing. Thanks. My husband had a cold too. I don't know if he necessarily did anything different with his fasting. Fasting is where you heal. So I'd say just rest, I don't know, just listen to your body. If you feel like you need to eat, just eat good nutrient-dense foods. And if you need to fast. Drink lots of fluids. I think that's what you're supposed to do with a cold. Maybe take some vitamin C or echinacea or something like that and see if that helps. He ended up having some bronchial stuff, so... Yvonne, Curtis, hi. Yvonne, thank goodness for you. Oh, girlfriend, thank you. Yvonne is my insulin-resistant sister. The whole aha moment just came full circle. Good. I had my first child at 34 too. Yes. Can still relate to experience. Jenny, did you have more kids or just... I think you have more kids, right? When was the last pregnancy that you had? Hi from Washington. What kind of tests would you recommend to establish baselines to see results over time? You mean for like insulin resistance? I think you just go get your blood glucose levels, maybe A1C or something like that. We get a full blood panel every year. And so I can kind of, see where they are over that, with that thing. I'm going in probably next week to do just a complete overhaul physical. So I'll keep you guys posted on all that and what tests I get done and how they come out. Beverly, good to have you. Would you recommend giving tofu? Would you recommend giving tofu up? Are you saying give up tofu? I wouldn't touch the stuff. That's a personal thing. Anything that's soy will not go inside my body. Tofu, edamame, soy sauce, all that stuff. Blood pressure down to 96/66 after 9 weeks of IF from 137 to 74. Sally, that is awesome. You're right there with. Now you're going to go to the doctor and they're going to go, are you having problems like fainting? Because when your blood pressure gets really low, they think you're fainting all the time. But that's great. Congratulations. Jackie, how long did it take you to heal? Okay, so I say it took me a year, but this is why I say that. Because I was just working on feeling better. I wasn't really focused on any one thing. I just wanted to feel better. So I did all the things with food that I knew would make me feel better. I've always been really hyper-focused on losing weight. And because I had like that extra 15 pounds that was sitting on me because I was sick, or was dealing with this insulin resistance, I made sure I wasn't hyper focused on that. I didn't even care anymore. I was feeling so bad that I literally wake up every day and like say a little prayer at the end of my bed, like, please just let me get through the day and not feel like I want to die or I'm gonna die. And so I really took the focus off my weight and just really, I was like, I don't care how much weight I lose, I just want to feel better. I don't care if I lose any weight at all, I just want to feel better. And then magically all the pieces started coming together when the hormones started balancing out. And I swear I started feeling better the same day or the same time I lost all that weight. I can't tell you when it happened. It was a year-long process of learning and just sort of settling into everything and kind of doing those little cheat mistakes that I kind of warn you guys about all the time. So I would kind of ebb and flow through good and bad with my fasting. And then when I just made that decision that I have to hunker down and do it right and just bite the bullet and go to black coffee and not put any calories in my body when I'm fasting and fast as long as I possibly can. And that's when the changes started happening. And that's why the women in the course are getting such great results, because we hit that like day one. Fast, fast, fast. You want to be in a true fasted state. And if you're in a true fasted state and you're extending your fast down gradually to the point where you get to that sweet spot, your healing process is so much faster because you're not playing games with your body. You don't have that 1 foot in, 1 foot out mentality. You're jumping in with both feet, you're going all in, and that healing process happens so much faster. And I think that was my biggest takeaway from my experience and what I really try to share with you guys who jump into the course, or if you're just watching us here on these broadcasts, is go all in. You deserve it. And the faster you go all in and the faster you trust the process and the faster you establish that intimate relationship with your body and how it feels when you do things to it, you'll expedite your healing process. So everybody's different because we don't know exactly where we're starting from hormonally. Talk to you in a while. Yes, Chris, we are talking tonight. Okay, I better make sure I don't stay on here too long and miss our call. 38 for my second beautiful boy. Good memory. Oh, awesome for you. Yep, 38. Good, so they're 4 years apart. You do have some great boys too. Joy, giving up all soy here as well. Yep, give it up. There's plenty. There's too many other things that aren't associated with risk factors that we can put into our nutrition. Why would we take our chances? Diet. Do you feel fish oil still good to be taking when you're increasing fat intakes elsewhere? Yeah, I think so. I don't see why not. Just make sure you have a good source of it. Is the biggest thing with those kind of things. Okay, I'm gonna come over here to YouTube. I saw my assistant quickly deleting some posts, so hopefully it's all cleaned up. Brenda, Houston in the house, mom of 3. Awesome, you can hear me. Cool. Christine, morning from Perth, Western Australia. Christine, good morning. Hello from New York. Janet, good evening from Nevada. Chris, I think it's Chris. Oh no, Chiara. Hello. Patricia. Hello. Teresa, Southern Orange County, California. Where are you at, girlfriend? That's my hometown. Brown Eyes, otherwise known as Linda, is in the house. Jan from Scotland. Penny, hello. Hi from Linda. Cool. Hello from Georgia. Just diagnosed with type 2 today. Glad you're talking about this tonight. Thanks. Yeah, you're welcome. So what's your plan? What's your plan if you just got diagnosed? Yelena, hello. Brenda, hey. Doreen is in the house. Susan, hello. Marty, hello from Washington. Headed to Boston tomorrow for a week for work and am packing a bit. I've lost 16 pounds and 10 inches so far and don't want to backtrack. No, you won't backtrack. You'll be fine. You will be fine. You have the skills to get through it. Cynthia, 9 weeks of IF, went in, had blood work done, no longer pre-diabetic, 16 pounds down. Thank you for all the info. Cynthia, congratulations, girlfriend. Deb, finally up here. Cool. Deb, good to have you. Zoe Blue, I had an inner tube around my middle, intermittent fasting, reverse that. Awesome. Awesome. Jenny, curious if you ladies are also eating low carb with IF. So the thing with intermittent fasting and low carb, and I talk about this a lot, and I'm not an anti-ketogenic diet person in any way. I just don't like to live that restrictive of a lifestyle. I've done that my entire life. And we talk about this a lot in our intermittent fasting courses. Oh my gosh, it feels so good to eat fat and have some moisture back in our food. I have eaten so many dry tasteless crackers and stuff in my life. I'm over it. So I don't want to give up a bunch of stuff anymore to follow a ketogenic diet. That's all the only reason I don't follow a ketogenic diet. I don't follow any diet. I just make my own nutrition plan out of what makes me feel and look my best. The idea of going lower carb works well with intermittent fasting if you understand the science of why intermittent fasting works. So we want to burn through all the sugars in our body first, and then we get to the fat adaptation, and then if we fast long and efficiently enough, we get into that autophagy state where we burn off all those dead and damaged protein cells. So it just makes sense to keep a lower carbohydrate lifestyle. Do you have to always be in a ketogenic state? From my personal experience, no. I don't always, I'm not even testing myself. I have no idea if I'm ketogenic. I know I feel fat adaptive. I know I have all the signs and signals when I'm burning ketones in my body. I don't test it. I don't want to waste the money on strips that I'm going to pee on and throw in the trash and tell me whether I'm successful or failing at something. I just don't want to go there emotionally. So I just keep my carbs as low as possible. I live a lifestyle around food that I break down in my own food pyramid. Highest fats I can get in a day, moderate amounts of protein, which just means I'm not obsessing about putting protein in my body, and I eat conscious carbohydrates. Or I guess I should say I eat carbohydrates consciously is probably how I should say that. Meaning I'm always aware of what types of carbohydrates I'm putting in my body, and I always seek out fresh vegetables. So that's how I live my life. I am a fat burning machine. I have lost a lot of body weight. I lost a lot of body fat, and I've healed my body. So it works for me without having to follow that ketogenic lifestyle. But yes, you want to design a plan where you're as low of carbohydrates as you can. And a lot of people who are feeling iffy in their fasting state, it's usually because they haven't given up a lot of those carbs that you can actually live without, like the oatmeals and the breads and the fruits and those kind of things. So if you're suffering, it's because you haven't taken out enough carbs yet. Okay, let's see where I left off. Thanks so much for the course. Okay, let's see, where was I at? Wow. Keto, high fat, medium protein, only above ground vegetables stops appetite. Yeah, I don't even worry about the above ground vegetables. I just eat whatever vegetables I want. I eat carrots, I eat beets, I eat all those things. They don't affect me in any way. I just manage them. I just make sure I'm not eating them in large amount of quantities. Melina, hi there. My last meal was at 7 p.m. If I take a vitamin B supplement and drink warm water and lemon at 6 p.m. before I go to the gym, am I breaking my fast? I always say with those kind of things, I don't necessarily worry too much if it's at the end of your feasting window and the beginning of your fasting window. If you're going to go work out, you're going to burn enough fat and energy and you'll burn through all that. So I wouldn't worry about it. Now, if it's like, if you stop your feast at 7 o'clock at night and then you sleep and then you wake up and you take your vitamins at 7 in the morning and then you want to go fast till 4 o'clock in the afternoon, I wouldn't risk that. No, but right after your feasting window, I wouldn't worry about it. Hi there, my last, okay, we already did that. Wow, that's my mother, that's what my mother said I had to drink as a baby. Yes, she called it sugar water too. Did you have headaches? Did I have headaches like growing up around sugar? Yeah, I did. Sugar made me sick. I'm actually surprised that I have teeth, to be honest with you. Like, sugar water in a baby bottle, I'm sure I was probably put to bed with that too in my crib. So let's just be grateful that all we have to deal with is insulin resistance at this point. Patricia, oh my God, I experienced similar symptoms. I have no problem avoiding sugar because I know it means an awful headache. Yep. Eileen. I'm due for blood work myself soon. Just follow up if there's something specific to ask for insulin resistance questions. Yeah, just ask them to do a fasting blood glucose. So go, even if they don't tell you to go to your doctor's appointment fasted, go fasted. And that way you'll get more accurate blood work. Shirley, I am now committed to putting the pieces together with my body as you did and become completely healthy as well and fit. Yep. Food stories are important, you guys. I've talked about it before. I've done a video before on food stories. Know your food history, know your food story, not only for health reasons, but for emotional and psychological reasons as well. Oftentimes food is used, to reward us as kids. It's used to punish us as kids. It's used to motivate us as kids. There's so many, to entertain us. I mean, food is used in a lot of different psychological and emotional ways. So know that too. A lot of us women talk about being emotional eaters, and we might be, and it might not even be our fault. It might be something that happened to us as we were conditioning through those years growing up. And now we have these certain, triggers with food that are connected to our emotions. And so we need to know that, because it's okay to have that in your life, to have those triggers or to have those issues with food. But if it's doing things in your life that's not making you happy, then we have to figure out how to deal with them and learn how to let them go and create new triggers, so that we can deal with them and be happy. I always really try to live my life in this way. I know that my parents did their best and they did what they did with the information that they had at hand. So there's no blame or anything. And I'm glad I at least know those things so I can put my pieces together and figure out my life. But I also can't be victim to it. So you have to make sure that at a certain point in your adult life, you go, okay, I get that's what happened or that's the way things were, but today I'm going to stop that. I'm going to make my own path and make my own future. And I'm going to start making decisions for myself. As a grown-ass woman, I'm going to make decisions for myself. And so that's the point where I think we have to kind of just say enough is enough, and make some decisions for ourselves, and get past some things maybe that we did that were kind of, we were conditioned for or with in our life as kids or growing up or young women or whatever it was that we were going through. The weight seems to be dropping off and I feel lighter and my clothes are starting to get loose on me. I checked my ketosis and it showed very small amount. I want to get the maximum results, but not sure I'm doing it right. You would have to count your carbs. Are you counting your carbs? Diane, have you heard about the strange beetle that is killing avocado trees in Florida? No, we can't have avocado trees go down. Oh, you're not Linda, you're Deborah. Who? I thought Linda was Brown Eyes. Okay, Linda, which one are you over here on YouTube? So you guys need to have your names as your handles on YouTube so I can keep you guys straight. Rancho Santa Margarita, girlfriend, we lived in Rancho Santa Margarita. You have to email me and tell me where you live in Rancho Santa Margarita. I'm new here trying to find answers to why I'm not losing weight. You're in the right place. Charissa. Started IF this week, one day feel great, not bloated, feel energy buzz, and tested positive for ketones at 16th hour. Plan to move to 20-hour window. Awesome, you're doing great. I believe now that IF heals the body, then the mind, then the soul. It just takes a little time learning how to tweak it. Practice makes perfect. Eileen, that's a really great breakdown of intermittent fasting, and I feel the same way. I feel like it heals your body first, and then it heals your mind because you're clear and you can think like a normal person again. And then it touches your soul, or even for some people, it touches your, I would say, your spirituality in a way. I know that's what I call the energized state of calm. Is I feel like everything's just in the right place. I feel like my body is healthy and energized. I feel like my mind is healthy and it's vibrant and it's getting all the things done that I need to get done in a day, and I don't feel crazy and out of balance. And then it does something to my soul and my inner peace and my depth of spirituality and what I can kind of do, on that level as well. And I think that's why people fast for religious reasons, is because it just makes you become very centered. And so I really do love it. Patricia, down 3 pounds. Awesome. Does taking pre-workout kick you out of your ketosis? Yes, I believe it does. Some people say it doesn't. Okay, you're Zoe Blue. Okay, so I knew you're Zoe Blue is a Linda and the Brown Eyes is Deborah. Okay, I'm gonna get that straight. Patricia, is there a list of foods to avoid that helps correct insulin resistance? Post on your website. No, I don't do lists of foods because I don't think it's responsible of me to tell people what to eat. I think you have to figure it out for yourself. Please address needs for electrolytes as we lose water weight. Avocados are full of potassium, for example. So I drink mineralized water. I have one right here. I drink mineralized water almost all day long. Magnesium, potassium, sodium, and I think some even have calcium in them. What was your top weight and how much weight did you lose? How often do you fast? I don't tell my weight because I think that's my personal business. I can tell you when I was insulin resistant, I lost 13 pounds. And I did it without dieting and not a lot of exercise. I just did it through fixing my body. I believe now that IF heals the body, then the mind. Okay, I already did that. Okay, cool. Let me go back over here really quick. You guys have great comments. Thank you so much for being so open and sharing all your stuff with us. Claire, let's see. What kind of test would you recommend to establish? Already did that one. Hello from Alabama. Beverly, good to have you. Would you recommend giving tofu? Yes, already did that. Blood pressure down. Awesome, did that. Let's see where I'm at. Started taking the magnesium, but here I am in the middle of the night, 3:20 p.m. here. How long does it take to kick in? It's consistency. I think maybe take an Epsom salt bath too. That helps because it kind of goes through your skin, through your entire body, and it will relax you. I drink this all day. I don't even know how much I'm getting, but I start my day with the Mountain Valley. I end my day with the Mountain Valley, and I fill in the gas of Pellegrino and regular water. So I get a lot. Watch your caffeine too. I'm fasting 20 hours a day, but can't seem to be able to get enough calories in. 4 hours is that bad? I'm fasting 20 hours a day, but can't seem to be able to get enough calories in. How do you know you're not getting enough calories in? Leslie, South Texas, girlfriend. Jackie, thank you for sharing this. Gives us all hope. I'm so glad you are feeling so well. Appreciate that you are using your experience to help others. I feel so much. Okay, cool. Yep, gotta work on yourself. Southeast Texas here. Pennsylvania, thank you for sharing your story and using your experience to help others. You're welcome. Wyoming, working to get back to a fasted lifestyle, have strayed recently. Just jump back on. I would say fasting is a choice. Just choose to fast or choose to feast. Make sure if you're choosing to fast, you make it long and strong. Do you have a fast 3 days to get, do you have to fast 3 days to get to autophagy state, or will it happen over time in 24? There's different philosophies on that. I've healed my body, and that's what autophagy is. So do I have to be, I haven't really done a 3-day fast like that, so I don't know if I have to necessarily do a 3-day fast to get into autophagy. If I was ever diagnosed with something terminal or something scary like cancer, I would fast as long and as hard as I could. But for what I was going through, my brain is clear, my memory is back, I don't feel crazy, my hormones are balanced, my insulin resistance is gone. I never fasted for 3 days. I fasted primarily for 20 hours and occasionally dinner to dinner, and it worked. Can you recommend a shape besides Shakeology to break fast? Nope, I can't. That's what I use, and I can only recommend what I use. If I use something else, I would recommend that, but I only use Shakeology, so you'd have to just find something that works for you. Yolanda, growing up with grandma wanting to please all of us with food. I know. The hemoglobin A1C test reflects your blood sugar levels over the last 3 months. Great way to see where you're at. Yep. Being in the restaurant business is I know. I used to be in the restaurant business too. Do you think food sensitivities cause weight gain? I think food sensitivities, they cause weight gain in the form of water retention mostly. I don't know if they would necessarily cause like a fat part, like putting fat on your body. I don't know about that, but they do cause water resistance, weight gain. And when I was battling my soy and gluten intolerance, I would wake up in the morning and put 7 pounds on. Like I would wake up and I would tell my husband, I'm like, oh my gosh, my body is filling up with water. And I would stand there like this, and I would just literally put 7 pounds of water weight on as soon as my feet hit the floor. And I would have to detox off of it, and then I could feel it come right back out. So I'd feel my body explode with the water, and then I would feel it deplete with the water. So it does cause water retention, weight gain. And that's why I say never, and inflammation too, but inflammation is just water. So I never say don't discount losing water weight. Like women always go, I lost 5 pounds, but it was probably just water weight. Well, you lost 5 pounds. So whether it was water weight or it was fat or it was whatever, it's gone. Don't try to dissect it down to something you can justify as a victory. 5 pounds is 5 pounds, 3 pounds is 3 pounds. Losing water weight and inflammation is what we need to do to keep our bodies healthy. We don't want all that water stored around our organs and in our joints and causing arthritic problems and joint pain and damaged organs and all that kind of stuff. We want it out of our body. So food sensitivities can definitely cause that to happen. Thanks everyone. It gives me something to go by. Yep. Good. Yep. Fasting from morning to noon. Good job. I don't count carbs, but in the Atkins diet, it was 35 carbs a day. 35 carbs a day I don't think it's enough to be ketogenic. I think to be ketogenic, you have to be under 20 grams of carbs. That's too much for me. Yep, less than 20. Yep, fasting during Ramadan, awesome for you. Ladies, I like you are all different, but a ballpark figure, how many carbs are y'all taking in a day? Okay, Brown Eyes, I don't, or Debani, I don't count carbs at all. And I feel like I'm fat adaptive and I lose body fat. If I want to like really do a drop in body fat, I just cut back all unnecessary carbs. And I stay there. But I don't want to be on a fat and protein diet. I don't feel good there, so I have to have my carbs. Patricia, on one other thing, I really don't like carbonated water. Should I just supplement with magnesium? Yeah, you can. There's magnesium lotions. There's magnesium powders you can put in water. And not all mineralized water is carbonated. Remember, the Mountain Valley has a flat water. And it has magnesium in it too. Mixed chia seed with almond milk. Magnesium is most calming for sleep. There you go. I agree about the spirituality part. 20 gets me very centered. Yes, yes, yes. You said you don't worry about food, and then you asked me if I'm counting my carbs. How many carbs should I be eating? You said don't worry about food. Okay, I don't worry about food in the sense that I don't obsess about it, and I don't manage my food, so I don't count carbs. I was asking how many carbs you eat because if you're trying to be ketogenic, you kind of have to have an idea for that purpose. I don't try to get myself in a ketogenic state, so I don't really count my carbs because 20 grams or less of carbohydrates to me is miserable for me. But if you want to get in a ketogenic state, you have to know where your carbs are coming from and you have to know how to control them, or you won't get into ketosis. So that's why I asked that. Core hydrate water is flat. There you go. No carb or calorie counting here. Nope. I am glad I go to bed. My rings are loose. My fingers wake up in water. Rings are tight. Wake up a few times in the night. Drink water. Wake up thirsty. Any reason you can think of. If you're thirsty all the time, that could be a sign of a pre-diabetic state and a sign that you're dehydrated. So you have to track how many ounces of water you're drinking in a day. I drink 100 to 150 ounces of water a day. So how many ounces of water are you drinking in a day would be the first question I'd have to ask. Yep. Fasting can definitely help reduce carb cravings because you're naturally just going to reduce your carb intake. Bioidentical estrogen creams seem to make it hard to lose fat. Your thoughts? Someone I had a consult call with today actually told me that they stopped their hormone pellets. I think they're what they're called. I'm not real familiar with all that stuff because I don't do it, but I think she said she stopped her hormone pellets and she noticed no difference in her body, good or bad. So then she questions why she was even taking them for all these years. So she just stopped them. No negative effects, no positive effects. She's just feeling the same way. So I thought that was some good news. So if you are not in a ketogenic state, can you still lose weight? I thought that was the goal we were shooting for. I have no idea if I've ever been in a true ketogenic testable state, and I lost 13 pounds because I reversed health conditions that were causing me to keep weight on. So I don't know. It's that thing. It's sort of a goal and a personality thing. If you're the kind of person that can manage counting carbs and you can reduce them down to 20 and you're happy there and you're living a lifestyle that you're happy with, then I say that's your thing. And I don't ever knock the ketogenic diet. I personally just don't want to live it because I've done that before and I don't want to be that restrictive. It just is damaging to me emotionally. I don't want to go there. Does it matter what time of day you're feeding? You feed in the most convenient times of day for you. Yeah, estrogen creams will probably make it hard for you to lose fat. Yes. Fasting has helped me reduce carbs. Okay, cool. I've gone through all those. Okay, let's see. No carb or calorie counting here. Okay, cool. I did all that. Yeah, Carolina. If you're waking up thin, if you're going to bed thin and you're waking up bloated, it might be something that you have in your feeding window that's causing you to be irritated and inflamed. So you want to try to figure that out. And the best way to figure those things out is an elimination diet. And you want to get soy, gluten, dairy, and any of those trigger inflammatory kind of foods out of your system for probably 2 weeks, and then you slowly reintroduce them and see what's triggering the water retention for you. So I hope this helped you guys out. I wanted to kind of just share my experience because it's not textbook. It's not what's described on things that you're going to research on the internet. And keep that in mind that every body is individually designed and all of our body systems work differently. And if you're feeling something, go with what you're feeling. Take in lots of information and then take the pieces that seem like they apply to you and implement those and do a little bit of experimenting until you find what's working for you. I know for a lot of the women we've been helping, it has been intermittent fasting, and it's the intermittent fasting the way we're doing it as aging women. We're not following all those rules. We're not worrying about counting calories. We're not worrying about counting macros. We're learning how to live our life around food in the lifestyles that we want for ourselves that make us live authentically. And we don't want to have to give up all those things that we've been giving up all of our adult life that didn't necessarily make us happy and always made us chasing a dream that we probably never achieved or only achieved for a very short period of time. I have been able to maintain this for now probably a year and a half with ease, and without having to cut out social life and the things that I like to do and wine with my husband and occasional beer at a Mexican restaurant or whatever it is that I want to do, or vacationing. We do not gain weight and lose weight like we used to have to do. Everything stays pretty steady state, and I'm healthy and I'm energetic, and most importantly, I'm happy and I'm optimistic about where I'm going with my life as an aging woman today. So take that as something that you guys know that you can have too if you're not there yet. Just put in the work and do the research. If you want to do it quickly and in an environment where you get some accountability and support, our July group is starting on Saturday. That means we're closing it out tomorrow. You have got to get yourself registered by tomorrow in order to get in our group. And my assistant is going away for the weekend, so she's closing it whenever it's convenient for her. I have no idea what time she's going to close it, so I would get in tonight or early tomorrow morning if you want in for sure. Then we're going to make some changes, and if you are a past student of mine, so the March, April, May, June, or current July course, we have just announced that we will be doing our alumni course starting in August. So if you are a graduate of Intermittent Fasting for Today's Aging Woman, you will be getting an invitation to join us for our alumni course, where we're going to take intermittent fasting and, more importantly, today's aging woman a little step farther, and we're going to dig a little deeper into some of the things that we're dealing with today as aging women and how it is that we can stay on top of it so that we are living our life authentically and looking and feeling our best. So if you're interested in that, hang on tight. We'll get you an email, and that will launch sometime in early August for you guys. You have to be a graduate of the first course in order to take the second course, because I need to have a relationship with you, and I need to know that we're on the same plank in life as far as what we're doing with our health and fitness and our life goals. So graduates will be invited for sure. If you'd like to get into this Saturday's course, make sure you register tonight or tomorrow morning. We're going to close it out. I haven't decided yet what we're going to do for the beginning of August because my life is super busy. We might have to take a break on our 30-day course just so I can get the alumni course up and running, so don't hesitate. Most women in our course are feeling the positive effects of what they're doing by the end of week 1. We do it smart. We do it with education. We do it with support. We do it with accountability. And all of those little things that are tripping you up and making you not feel and look your best right now, even though you're trying really hard to make that happen, we can help you get those fixed within the first week. So get in. It's worth every penny, and you'll make some great friends as well. Okay, Patricia, yeah, it's going to be fun. Zoe, Blue, Linda, maybe they're in her system, I don't know, but she's not taking them and she feels better and she feels empowered, and we're going to go with that. So if we were not in a ketogenic state, can we still lose weight? Okay, I already did all that. Okay, I'm going to bust out of here, you guys, because I have 2 amazing calls waiting for me in 5 minutes. So I have to go. I will go through these comments and answer any of the ones that I didn't get answered yet for you guys. So if you left a comment or a question that I didn't get to, don't worry. I'll go back and review them tonight or tomorrow morning, and I'll leave you a comment. Thanks so much for jumping in with me tonight. Tonight is my last night of before the weekend. So tomorrow night, Saturday night, and Sunday night, I will be taking off. And then I will be back here on Monday night at 9 p.m. Central Standard Time, both on YouTube and on Facebook. Thanks so much for joining in tonight, and I will see you guys on Monday.